quit calling, but
Wasn't lying, Dwayne.
we'll be all right. It's fine, man.
All right, we'll get started with questions. Gerald, you want to start us off?
Hey, Book, Gerald Bourget, PHNX Sports. First off, congrats on another gold medal.
Thank you.
I just wanted to get your thoughts. I know that you and Al obviously developed a special relationship during your time here. Just wanted to get your thoughts on his passing and the relationship you were able to build with him over the years.
Yeah. I mean, Al is the historian of this franchise. He was here from day one and somebody that I grew super close to over time, somebody that I view as a really good friend of mine, and obviously tough for all of us. But, he's embedded in this culture and in this city forever. So it's like losing a family member for a lot of us.
Sorry about that. First, congrats on winning gold. And then second, you wearing the patch, obviously, to get on the jersey. What's that going to mean for you this season to have him basically with you from start to finish?
Yeah, it means something to me. Means a lot to me. I heard rumblings of getting Shazam on there. I think that would have been iconic. But yeah, I think it's my job to further communicate to the guys that haven't been here, how important this patch is and how much it means to the city. And we're going to wear it with great honor.
Was when you look at just the roster moves that was made, particularly Tyus, him being a point guard, and you can get back to being off the ball. What's that going to mean for you and for the team as a whole?
I mean, me and Tyus go back to 2014 draft class. So somebody that I've had a close relationship for a long time, and we can say it how it is. We got him for a steal. I remember the news being broke while we were at USA, and all the guys in the locker room was like, man, how did y'all get that done? But something I'm super excited about, obviously, not only everyone talks about the assist turnover ratio, but he's definitely not someone you can leave open either. So he's just a true ultimate winner, and I'm glad that, he's on a stage now where he can show it.
Doug Haller with The Athletic. Are there any lessons from Paris that you can apply to this upcoming season, just with how you guys came together as a team and won?
I mean, yeah, that's the name of the game. The quicker you can find that chemistry, and it took us a little bit out in Paris, and we were tested to the highest degree, but I think our chemistry got us over the hump. We all believed all the way through, even down 13 to start the fourth quarter versus Serbia. We just stuck together. Everybody was obviously not in their normal roles, and we wanted to do other things to help contribute. And, that's what we did.
Bo, Kellen Olson, Arizona Sports, good to see you back here.
Good to see you.
With the big three, as they're called, you, Brad, and Kevin, just what do you build on from last year and take into this year that worked, didn't work, and just how much that second year as opposed to the first year, that dynamic is going to help you guys?
Yeah, I think going out in the fashion that we did is something that, you don't want to just blow by and act like it never happened. Something that we have to accept and use as motivation. So I always say experience is the best teacher, and, we have that terrible experience under our belt and use it for motivation from here on out.
Hey, Bo, Shane Yellen, Forbes. Good to see you.
See you.
I'm curious, what's some of the early impressions you've had with Coach Bud? I'm assuming you've probably talked to him quite a bit over the summer.
Yeah, he's a hell of a golfer. We actually got around in, and he's a competitor. We obviously seen a lot of him in the finals run, and he just wants to win. So, I'm rallying behind him. What he says, that's always been my motto. He wants to lead, and we want to follow.
Doug Franz Unplugged podcast. Book, I know the first two questions were about Al, but I know how much it meant to him when you walked out of the locker room to watch him get inducted into the Ring of Honor. Do you mind opening up about a story of 18, 19-year-old Book talking to Al on a plane or on a bus and how he helped you become a professional?
Oh, yeah, we had plenty of those conversations. And, you know, my question was him, man, what still drives you, man? How are you still on all these flights with us? How are you catching all these games? And just further understanding, you know, the history of what he's done and, you know, how the game has evolved. And, you know, the only way to hear a basketball game or not even see it was to hear his voice. So that's why I say he's embedded in a lot of the people's lives here, and that's why it feels like a family member. That was the only source of Phoenix Suns basketball, and, you know, to me, still is.
Hey, Buck. Danny Scott, Arizona Republic. Congratulations on the gold medal.
Thank you.
Two-part question about you entering year 10. Now that you're entering the second half of your career, do you talk with Kevin about how to prepare and basically managing your body in certain ways that players at that age have to do and entering the second half? You know, you're very young still. And the second part of that is with having Oso and Tai Tai on the team as two Phoenix natives. You called Tai Tai a special talent a couple years ago, and he was at your alma mater, Kentucky. So what's that like having Arizona guys on the team to help impact this, you know, the roster?
The first part of the question, I'd say I'm always a sponge. You'll see, you know, guys all have their different type of ways to stay healthy, and Katie is obviously somebody that, you know, I've watched closely going into, what is this, 18 for him, 19. And he, you know, he's just a hooper. You know, I think his love for the game is what keeps him going. And I've had plenty of guys around. You know, Chris was a guy that, you know, was over obsessive about his body and taking care of his body. So I take bits and pieces from, you know, everybody I'm around and just try to implement it. But, you know, I still do feel really good. You know, I feel I'm reaching those prime type feeling years body-wise. And then on to the next question was about Oso and Ty. Yeah, I mean, I think that's that's not a normal situation to, you know, get drafted to your hometown team or be in the market of your hometown team. So, you know, they understand the importance of Phoenix Suns basketball, and, you know, I'm going to do my job to, you know, be a leader and, you know, give them any bits and pieces that I've picked up along the way.
Bob.
Hey, Book. Bob here in Associated Press. First of all, going back to Al, one of the coolest pictures, and we talked about this, was with you and Al walking back. Do you remember, you know, which one we talked about?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have that picture? Do you get a copy of that?
I didn't get a copy of it, but, you know, social media makes it just save photo. And it's favorited also.
And what has to happen this year that didn't happen last year? What's the biggest difference this year for you guys to take the next step?
I mean, it's hard to narrow it down to one. You know, I think we were trying to figure out and learn throughout, you know, the whole season, including the postseason. So, you know, just come in more prepared, come in more competitive. We just, you know, we have to be on it. You know, it's a tough league. It's a tough conference, and, you know, we understand what we're going against, and, you know, we feel like we have the talent. We feel like we have the coaching staff. We feel like we have, you know, all the pieces to get to where we're trying to go.
Hey, Devin. Luis Torres here with Nice Kicks. After, you know, a full season with the Book 1, a lot of fun colorways, a little PE going on right now. What can we expect this upcoming season? And Book 2 in the works? What's
Yeah. Book 2 is definitely in the works. But a lot of more Book 1s this year. I'm just going to continue to try to tell my story, man. I think, you know, I've kept it consistent with every colorway that drops is, you know, either been Phoenix inspired or Arizona inspired or, you know, some type of story from my past. And, you know, a lot of the Book 1s, especially with the PEs, have been colorways that you've seen before from the past. And that's just me paying homage, understanding, you know, sneakers were super important to me growing up and definitely still are now. So paying homage to those colorways, those silhouettes that, you know, have shaped the game and changed the sneaker culture forever.
Last one in the book, Annie.
Devin, Annie Myers, Drysdale, Suns broadcast.
Yeah, there you go.
Can you talk a little bit about, you know, the relationships, talk about Kevin, and congratulations on the Olympics too, but being that with Diana Taurasi and the relationship you've had with her for 20 years, and and what she has done and impacted you in the game.
Yeah, I mean, since day one, Diana has the energy and the spirit, like she's ready to play tomorrow. So, they say she's retiring. I don't know. I hope not, because that has definitely been a staple for me, throughout my whole career here is, just even the short conversations of passing in the locker rooms or passing in the weight rooms. And, obviously, like I said, being a historian of the game, understanding that she's paved the way for this whole next generation that's coming up. And, she set the bar so high that, they probably won't be able to reach.
Thanks, Book.
Yeah, appreciate it.